Hello everyone. Now today I'm down at Greystone Gardens and I thought it'd be fun to show you some alternative sized plants. The same sort of family but different sizes. Often I get a lot of customers who say, oh, I can't put that in there because I don't have enough room. But what I want to show to you today is, and we're going to stick today for perennials, and in a couple of weeks we'll show you shrubs and trees. But today it's perennials. I'm going to show you different sized plants that will fit in a bigger space or a smaller space if you don't have the room. Well, let's start with an American classic, the coneflower, Echinacea. This is the old favorite that's been around for a long, long time. This is Magnus, and in the ground you can see it will be 6 or 7 inches even taller than this. And this is one of the newer, smaller ones. It's got an interesting name. It's called Pow Wow Wild Berry, and it's turning out to be a really good coneflower. Lots of flowers, a little bit more compact, and it could go towards the front of a border, where this really is mid or back of a border, depending how big your border is. Now, another very useful garden plant, the daylily. Royal frosting, this one's called, because it looks kind of like white frosting. Excellent plants, big, reliable flowers, but if you haven't got the room, how about Pennyworth? Beautiful little plant. It reminds me of Stelladora, but about a third of the size. Sweet little plant, lovely little tubular flower. Now I've made it a real tight squeeze here, but hopefully I can get through all these plants because I think they are interesting. All right, this is a Ligularia. The deer don't eat it, slugs eat it, so you have to watch that, just like the hosta. Ligularia is a big plant that will have orange flowers or yellow flowers later in the summer. And often people say, oh my goodness, that's going to be way too big in my shade garden. But how about Pandora's Box, a much smaller variety, lovely dark leaves though. And again, the same orange yellow flowers a little bit later on. Okay, so another garden classic for the shade, the hosta. Now this is one of the medium-sized ones. We have Empress Wu, who will get up to 3 or 4 feet, maybe 5 feet across. And for a lot of people, that is their garden, their shade garden. So that won't do. This is, just by the way, this is Love Pat. It's a lovely leaf, strong, a kind of puckered and upward cup leaf. Really, really nice hosta. So what are the alternatives? Well, I've just got 2 of them along. This one's called Mini Skirt, and this is Tiny Tears, and literally no more than 3 inches high. This one's got some pretty little flowers coming up. So there you go. You could have a whole hosta garden in a tiny space. Right here we have a garden classic, especially for the late part of the season. This is Autumn Fire, an improvement of Autumn Joy. Sedum spectabilis. It's a tall one. It will go pink, then red, and the burgundy seed heads will last through the winter. But if you haven't got room for a tall one, there are not hundreds, but an awful lot of these low spreading sedum. Again, they flower at different times of the summer. Some are white, some are pink, some have amethyst color flowers, some are red. What have we got here? We've got an aster. Asters do get eaten by the deer, so you have to be careful which ones you choose. This is a new Belgium aster, and they will get about 2 feet tall, covered in those little aster daisy-like flowers later in the summer. But if you've got room, this is a monster. This will get 5, 6 feet tall, a Tartarian aster, and the deer leave that one alone easily. Something a little bit more unusual. I'm going to pull these out to the front. Alliums. Now we all think of those giant big balls that flower about 4 feet high in the spring, but there's so many wonderful midsummer flowering alliums, ornamental onions. This is a particularly good one, Serendipity. But look at this one. It's tiny. It almost looks like grass, and that's its downfall. It often gets weeded out in the spring. But look at that beautiful blue flower. So for a little rock garden or a little tiny little container garden, that might do the job. So there you go. Just some of the variety in size of perennials you can put in your yard. And as I say, I just picked just a few. Now, in a couple of weeks, we're going to look at shrubs and trees, the big one and the small one. What alternatives are there? So if you want to find out about these plants, we'll love to see you down at Greystone Gardens. The sun is now shining and the plants look great.